2011 to December 2018, it would have been over by this year. But what you would hear from the current government in Ekiti is the arrant nonsense that the debt that is owed in the state is debt owed till 2036. By who? On what account? Which banks? So, but don't let me just stop at the factual evidence of what we took, what we expended it on, well, how we met the obligations that we owed workers. Because we ensured that not only did we pay workers, we had housing loan for workers, we had car loans for workers, we had training and capacity building program for workers, we introduced rural teachers allowance, we introduced core subject allowance, we introduced pecuniary allowance, 27.5% for teachers. None of this has ever happened in this state. Now compare that with our friend in office who has taken, and don't quote my word, please, go to the website of the debt management office and pull out what you have on the debt on the website of the debt management office, or contact debt management office
which
direct.
comes to about 57 billion naira
currently. Exactly. On top of that, there was bailout. President Buhari decided when he came into office that he didn't want the suffering of workers to continue, because about 27 states were owing a backlog of salaries when our administration came into office in May 2015. Governor Fayemi collected the first bailout. He collected the second bailout. Most people did not know in Ekiti that he was collecting a monthly budget support of between 1.4 billion and 1.5 billion naira every month. Regularly, every month. For about 14 months. He never said that to Ekiti people. The workers didn't know anything about this. He didn't stop there. The Paris Club that we went to court for when I was in the Governor's Forum, that we went to fight for, which was the refund of what was owed to state when the debt was cleared under the Obasanjo administration. That was also collected. Paris Club 1, Paris Club 2. He didn't stop there. He collected ecological funds for work that were done before we left office, 2 billion naira. He collected CBN SME funds for small and medium enterprises, about 2.2 billion naira. I can go on and on. But on top of that, even the money that we had made arrangements for before he came into office, we had World Bank $50 million for our education fund, which was where the core subject and rural teachers allowance that I started paying came from. It's known as SEPI. We had water support, another $50 million that we got from the World Bank. We had another $20 million for governance in Ekiti State, reforming governance institutions. Another funding for water from the European Union. I can go on and on and on.
I was wondering, so if
all of this information is available, it is independently verifiable, there's an audit. This was what Andos deployed it as the most transparent state in 2014. This was what Ekiti, the record of the UN, as the state with the lowest maternal mortality, the state with the lowest child mortality, the state with the lowest prevalence of HIV, the state with the highest life expectancy, and the state with the highest enrollment of pupils in school. All of these had gone pear-shaped in less than 4 years.
Okay. Now, sorry for breaking into that flow. I see you're itching to go, but before we get there, no, we may not know much about governance, but you've been there, governed this state for a 4 year period. And one of the figures that is in the public domain, it brings to about 253 billion naira that this administration has gotten through one window or the other in the course of 3.5 years. Maybe it's not enough to do much in the state. Maybe you care to educate us about that.
Okay, let me tell you, if you have a plan and a program, then your financial commitment would respond to those plans and programs. One of the very, very first tragedies that we're experiencing in Ekiti is that we have a planless government. And he never hid it. He never told anyone that he was going to do anything beyond glib talk about stomach infrastructure and such other items. There was no clearly articulated, codified, organized framework of what was going to be delivered, how it would be delivered, and who the beneficiaries were going to be. In our time, we had what was popularly known as the 8-point agenda, the roadmap for Ekiti recovery. And we articulated in very specific, precise, measurable way how we were going to govern Ekiti, what we were going to deliver, and who the beneficiaries were going to be. So if somebody has collected 263 billion through all these windows and still says that it doesn't have enough, let's really roll back what happened 4 years before then. When I was governor in this state, the average monthly revenue of this state was 3 billion naira. So that means we had like 36 billion every year. If you look at that, that means in about 4 years that I was governor, we have a total revenue of about 130, 140 billion naira. And when I was governor, we had an average wage bill of 2.6 billion naira. And that average wage bill that I'm talking about is not just civil service, it's not just public servants, health workers, it's also our subventions to the tertiary institutions, which we increased when we were in office. It's money for EXU, money for College of Education, money for College of Health Tech in Ikere, and for the teaching hospital. But not just that, it also included all of our social investment programs. Social security for the elderly, the 20,000 people. The youth volunteer program, 10,000 people. The Peace Corps, X-Man, the one popularly known as the Green. Ambulance workers, fire officers, totaling roughly about 40,000. That 40,000 beneficiaries from that same pot of money that I just described had been yanked off the system. Remember, we also recruited about 1,000 civil servants and 1,000 plus teachers at the same time. Apart from those teachers that stayed back, every other segment of that beneficiary, they had been taken out of the system. Yet, I am told by what our governor popularly says that the wage bill is still static. Nothing has changed from that same 2.6 billion that we were paying. Yet, what had been removed is roughly about 500, 600 million on a monthly basis. So if somebody were to say to you, and that is leaving aside capital projects, I am not aware of the capital projects this governor has done, apart from the bridge to nowhere. There is nothing. They will tell you that they've done dual carriageways in some local government capitals. please go back and check those roads. These were roads we built. And they've put dividers at best. That's how I can describe them. They've put dividers, put some street lights, and improvement, no doubt. But dangerous. If you look at federal road safety codes, you cannot have roads that narrow and then expect us not to have incessant accidents there. So outside of those two, the bridge to nowhere and this so-called dualized roads, I am not aware of anything. I was at the state hospital just last week. The 50-bed accident and emergency unit that we built when we were in office, fully equipped accident and emergency unit, it was a sorry sight. That was where we first took those injured in the unfortunate incident at the party secretariat. And when you go there and you see what has happened, the conditions under which these excellent surgeons and doctors that we have are working under, you will cry for our state. And all that is required is just maintenance. They can even maintain them. The roof of the maternity ward has been blown up. I think for 3 months. It has not been repaired. So you now have a situation where our mothers who have just delivered or about to deliver are pulled away from where they should be into maybe the male surgical ward or one of those other wards there. What sort of government does that to its own people? So the short answer to your question is you can do a lot with 263 billion naira to the benefit of the people in a tangible manner that would be very clear as to what has transpired and that would not be in any doubt. But then we know that this is not a government that is interested in human development.
All right, Dr. Fayemi, I believe we'll have enough time to look at specific programs, your programs, in the course of the program. Dele, you may want to.
Ó lágbára ṣùgbọ́n ṣáà ó tí mo mọ̀ pé Ọlọ́run á gbàkóso nípínlẹ̀ Èkìtì. Dókítà Kayode Fayemi, ẹ káàbọ̀ lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí i. Ìbéèrè kan ń ta wọ́tà sẹ́nu mi. A ti wà lásìkò ìdìbò láti bí ọ̀sẹ̀ mẹ́ta. Ká kọ́kọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti bí ìròyìn tá a gbọ́ wípé gẹ́gẹ́ bí mínísítà nígbà ẹ̀yin lẹ fún gómìnà ìpínlẹ̀ Kaduna ní àmọ̀ràn wípé kó dá àwọn tíṣà bíi 22,000 dúró ní àkọ́kọ́. Then ká wá padà wá sí ìpínlẹ̀ tiwa lẹ́kìtì. Àwọn ohun tó tún lọ nígboro ń sìn ní wípé tí ẹ bá padà wá gẹ́gẹ́ bí gómìnà nípínlẹ̀ Èkìtì pé ẹ fẹ́ wá gbẹ̀san ẹ̀san wípé àwọn kan ò dìbò fún yín ní 2014 pé àwọn lẹ fẹ́ wá náà ní pàṣán ìdádúró. Mo wá ní dókítà Kayode Fayemi tó mú kí àwọn tíṣà máa ṣiṣẹ́ ní gbèríko pẹ̀lú inú dídùn, èèyàn wá lè fọwọ́ ara rẹ̀ kọ́lé kó tún wá fọwọ́ ara rẹ̀ wò. Ìgbà tó wá lẹ̀ ń bọ̀ bí nírọ̀lẹ́ èmi á débi o máa bí ìbéèrè kan ṣoṣo tí mo wá béèrè. Àkọ́kọ́, kí ló dé tẹ́ sọ fún gómìnà ìpínlẹ̀ Kaduna wípé kó dá àwọn olùkọ́ dúró? Ìkejì, wọ́n lè fẹ́ wá dá àwọn tíṣà àtàwọn òṣìṣẹ́ kọ̀ọ̀kan dúró tí ẹ bá padà wá gẹ́gẹ́ bí ẹ̀san.
Ẹ ṣeun Ọmọlọ́pẹ́. Ṣé mọ̀ pé mi àti gómìnà wa tó wà ní orí àlééfà a ṣe ọ̀rẹ́ rẹ́rìn-ín díẹ̀ kan rí. Ṣé mọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀? Nígbà tá a fẹ́ ṣe ètò ìdìbò àtúnṣe ní ọdún 2009, nígbà kan tó máa ń gbé àsíá Fayemi kiri, vote Fayemi, vote Fayemi. Ó lọ́rọ̀ kan tó máa ń sọ fún mi nígbà yẹn tí mi ò tí ì gbàgbé. Ó ní kò sí nǹkan kan tí èèyàn ń fòṣèlú ṣe ju irọ́ lọ. pé irọ́ náà fi ń ṣòṣèlú. Excuse sir.
Sir.
Wá irọ́ rabata kan gbé lù wọ́n ibi tó máa ti ń ba yí.
Òun ló ń sọ pé
bó ṣe ń sọ fún mi ni ó ṣe máa ń sọ̀rọ̀ ní excuse ni bó ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ mo ń sọ fún yín yẹn ẹ̀yin ẹ bá dẹ̀ wádìí ẹ lọ ẹ gbọ́ bí tó bá ti ń sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ rí i excuse ẹ sà ẹ wá rọ́ ńlá kan ẹ gbé nígbà tó ń fẹ́ kó ń gbádùn pọ̀ yírọ́ pé mo rántí bó ń ṣe yírọ́ pé bàbá wa fẹ́ Babalọ́lá fẹ́ ṣe gómìnà lọ́sọ̀ọ́kọ̀ orúkọ ló ń gbé pósítà síta olóòsàn yẹn fún mi o kí ló kàn mí ń pa bí gómìnà Kaduna ṣe fẹ́ ṣèjọba yìí ṣé mi wá láti Kaduna ni tí ẹ bá ṣèwádìí ọ̀rọ̀ tẹ̀sán yẹn lọ wo ibi tí ìròyìn yẹn ti jáde tẹ́ ẹ bá wo ibi tó ti jáde ẹ rí i pé ọkùnrin tó máa ń tẹ̀lé gómìnà wa ṣé Rọ́yìnká àbí Ọláyínká mi nǹkan tó ń pè ọ̀dọ̀ ẹni ìròyìn tẹ́ ń sọ yẹn ló ti wá ìgbà tó dẹ̀ sọ bí ọ̀rọ̀ yunifásitì Ghana ni.
mo tiẹ̀ fẹ́ béèrè gan lẹ́tẹ̀ fẹ́ ṣàdmíṣàn bẹ́ẹ̀ dẹ́ ó ti tọ́dún 4 tó yẹ ká ti máa ṣe graduation.
bẹ́ẹ̀ni bí ọ̀rọ̀ pé Fáyẹmí ní yunifásitì Ghana ni ṣé wọ́n dẹ̀ rò pé Èkìtì kọ̀ wọ́n mọ̀ pé àwọn èèyàn wá kàn ń wò wọ́n ni ẹ ṣáà máa parọ́ mọ́ tó bá wá parú rọ́bẹ̀ ṣebí wàá ní ẹ̀rí pé bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ṣe ń hùwà rí tíṣà mélòó ni Fáyẹmí dá dúró lẹ́nu iṣẹ́ ńgbà tí mo ṣe gómìnà lọ́dún 4 mo gba tíṣà síṣẹ́ ni àwọn gan tó jẹ́ pé àti tẹ̀síwájú wọn nínú iṣẹ́ tó ń ṣe kò já geere níjọba ìbílẹ̀ mo tún kó lára wọn mo kó wọn lọ sídìí iṣẹ́ tíṣà wọ́n tún wá ń gbowó ju owó tó ń gbà ní ìjọba ìbílẹ̀ lọ ẹlòmíì tó yẹ pé kò lè kọjá level 7 mo gbé wọn kúrò mi òun ti gba kúrò ní ìjọba ìbílẹ̀ ìyẹn jẹ́ ìkíní. Ìkejì ẹ̀ẹ̀mẹ́ta mo ti sọ bí yìí ni mo fi kún owó tíṣà láàrin ọdún 4 tí mo wà ní orí àléfà ẹ̀ẹ̀mẹ́ta yàtọ̀ sí owó ìgbèríko tí wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí gbà ọ́ àbówó àwọn ìṣirò Gẹ̀ẹ́sì sáyẹ́ǹsì tí wọ́n ń gbà kò sí ìjọba tó tọ́jú tíṣà tó ìjọba Fáyẹmí so ẹni tó bá wá lóun fẹ́ parú rọ́yìn ó yẹ kó mọ̀ pé irọ́ tí ò ní ẹsẹ̀ ńlẹ̀ ni èyí tí ó dẹ̀ ṣe pàtàkì jù ń bẹ̀ ni kò bá kùn bí ọ̀rọ̀ tẹ́ ẹ sọ kẹ́yìn pé mo fẹ́ wá gbẹ̀san ẹ̀san fún ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ wo ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ wo ni tíṣà ṣẹ̀ mí a mọ nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní arúmọjẹ ìbò Èkìtì ṣé tíṣà ni òdìbò ni fún Fáyẹmí àbáwọn tí wọ́n rán wá ṣarúmọjẹ náà mọ nǹkan táwọn ṣe tí gbogbo wa dẹ̀ ti mọ̀ gbogbo wa la ti gbọ́ kólì gbogbo wa la ti gbọ́ kòrò mo yìí ń kànú pépà lẹ́ni àwọn ilé tó ń fi owó jìbìtì tó ń gbàrà àwọn ilé Ghana Street àwọn ilé Yẹtẹ́ràmù àwọn ilé Olúwọlé Victoria Island àwọn ilé Ọ̀ṣun Crescent l'Àbújá àti má sanwó oṣù yín o ebi lè máa pa yín o àmọ́ ṣẹrẹ́ ń tó ń bọ̀ yẹn ó fẹ́ wá dá yín dúró lẹ́nu iṣẹ́ ni o. mo wá rí níjọ́ kan ló pa àwọn tíṣà kan sí gbàgede kan ní government house tí ìyá kan sọ òkodoro ọ̀rọ̀ fún bẹ́ẹ̀. ó lè má sanwó oṣù àwọn èèyàn tó ṣiṣẹ́ ìlú náà lówó tó ń gbà yìí tẹ̀ ní fún olówó oṣù wọn àwọn tẹ́ ẹ̀dẹ̀ sanwó oṣù fún yìí ẹ̀ tún wá ń gbowó iléèwé lọ́wọ́ àwọn ọmọ wọn. Ṣé yẹn ṣẹlẹ̀ níjọba Fáyemí? Kò sí ọmọ kankan ní Èkìtì nígbà tí èmi ṣe gómìnà lẹ́kìtì tó sanwó WAEC, kò sọmọ kankan tó sanwó NECO, kò sọmọ kankan tó sanwó JAMB, kò sọmọ kankan tó sanwó NAPTEP. Tó o bá ti dé SSS3 ọ̀fẹ́ ni owó tó máa fi ṣèdán, torí mi mo san gbogbo owó àwọn ọmọ tó wà ní iléèwé ìjọba. Àfi tó bá yẹ pé iléèwé aládàáni ló lọ o, àwọn yẹn wọ́n mọ̀ wọ́n ṣe lè gbowó lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀. Àmọ́ tó bá lọ sí iléèwé ti ìjọba lẹ́kìtì kò sí ọmọ kankan lénìí. Gbogbo nǹkan tí mò ń sọ yẹn náà sanwó ìdánwò fún. Wọn ò dá dúró ń bẹ̀, wọ́n ń san owó táàtì, owó orí fún àwọn ọmọ iléèwé láti primary títí dé SSS3 lẹ́kìtì. Fún àwọn tí wọn ò rówó oṣù gbà, ẹ̀dẹ̀ tó ń gbowó orí lọ́wọ́ wọn. Kò yẹ ní ó fi yà mí lẹ́nu pé Èkìtì ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí jó ijó àjórẹ̀yìn nínú àwọn ọmọ tí wọn ń lọ sílé ìwé mọ́. Àwa dẹ̀ ni agbégbá orókè tẹ́lẹ̀. Ní báyìí, ní gbogbo ilẹ̀ káàárọ̀ oòjíire Èkìtì láti láwọn ọmọ tí wọn lọ sí ilé ìwé jù. Nígbà tí ìyá bá lọ́mọ mẹ́ta àti tí bàbá lọ́mọ mẹ́ta tí ò gbowó oṣù mẹ́wàá, tẹ wá ní kó wá san owó iléèwé, á sọ pé ìwọ Lákúnlé jọ dúró fábùrú ẹ̀ jẹ́ kó ń lọ sí iléèwé náà. Ìjọ tí ń bá dẹ̀ tún rówó, ìwọ náà wà tún bẹ̀rẹ̀. Ní Èkìtì ta sọ páwà nípìnlẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ọgbọ́n, òye àti ìmọ̀, irú yẹn ti ń ṣẹlẹ̀. Bọ̀ kò yẹ kó yà wá lẹ́nu nígbà tá a bá ní gómìnà tí ò ka ìwé kún, kò sí nǹkan tó kàn pa ìwé. Gómìnà wa tá a bọ́ sórí títì, òun àtàwọn ìyá alákàrà jọ wà ní abẹ́ bíríìjì lánàá ni. Àbí tá a bọ́ sí exu tá a sọ pé èmi ni gómìnà àwọn pòfẹ́sọ̀, mi ò kàwé o àmọ́ èmi ni gómìnà pòfẹ́sọ̀, èmi ni mò ń sanwó oṣù pòfẹ́sọ̀. Ṣé yẹn jẹ́ nǹkan tó yẹ kó máa gbọ́ lẹ́nu ọmọlúàbí? Ìdáhùn sí ìbéèrè yìí ni pé irọ́ gbu ni. Fáyemí ò mọ nǹkan kan pa nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Kaduna. Fáyemí ò gbẹ̀san lọ́wọ́ èèyàn wọn torí kò sẹ́ni tó ṣẹ̀ mí. Fáyemí ò ní èèyàn kankan dá dúró. Ìgbé ayé rere lèmi fẹ́ fáwọn tíṣà nítorí ọmọ tíṣà ni mí.
All right, it's some 28 minutes before 8. If you're just tuning in, this is a special session featuring Dr. Kayode Fayemi, the candidate of the APC in the July 14 gubernatorial election in Ekiti State. And he's here fielding questions about the past, of course, the future as well. And talking about the future, let's use the next half hour to look at specific programs. I'm very, very sure that any government in the future of Ekiti that does not have a coherent industrialization plan is going to fail because of the teeming number of youths who are unemployed and so on. Do you care to take us through your programs for industrializing the state?
Well, you know, the advantage that I have is that I'm running on a record. There are things that we did when we were in office and things that we would intensify and expand on. If you remember our 8-point agenda, apart from the focus on industrial development, we also had a focus on modernizing agriculture. And that's where our Youth in Commercial Agriculture Development Program came from. One of the things that saddens me about our current government in Ekiti is simply that they just do not care and they do not understand that they do not care for our people. I had cause to encourage my former commissioner for agriculture. The Ekiti people will be amazed to hear this. The former commissioner for agriculture in this state is the executive director operations of NASA, the Anchor Borrowers Program of the CBN today. That is, all the monies that you hear being taken to Kebbi for rice revolution, to Jigawa, to Ogun, to Ebonyi is being managed by an Ekiti son. Ask me what he tried to do. I encouraged him to call, regardless of party affiliation. I asked Jide Aroshafe, that's his name, from Ikole local government. I asked Jide to call his successor in office, the current Commissioner for Agriculture. I think it's from Aramoko, I can't remember. I think it's from Ekiti West. And he did. That look, bring a plan. Let us do what we've done. We have to memorize. We now have an opportunity. I'm here. We didn't have people in these critical positions in the past, but now we have. Can you bring a plan and let us see how we can support you in the rice program? Maybe that plan will come tomorrow, my brother. So the opportunity that I have now, which I didn't have before, is that I have a much stronger network. I know who is where that can be brought to the assistance of Ekiti. There is no minister that I will walk into his office as governor of Ekiti State now that I will be given the short shrift. Whatever program is there, Ekiti will be a front row seat occupier in that program. I cannot walk into the CBN and not get that is due to Ekiti, and even more. Things that have never happened to Ekiti, you can actually see that happening now. Even in appointments, I mean, look at Ekiti. Ekiti now chairs boards like Board of Technical Education, which is the equivalent of National Universities Commission for Polytechnics. Ekiti is chair of Federal Airports Authority. Ekiti is the chairman of the board of Free Trade Zone, Engineer Shagoni. The Lake Chad Institute, Dr. Omiri. These are things that would be used for the benefit of our people. But if you go by the record first, it was our administration that revived Irremonds. This was a company that was dead for 21 years since the Ajachin administration left. It was our administration that brought back the Kogosi resort to life. Don't ask me what is happening there now. In the time I was in office, enterprise grew in Ekiti. Ekiti, in the space of 3 years, when I came in as governor, there were 2, what you can call hotels in Ekiti, Pathfinder and Fountain. By the time I left this state as governor, and it was the deluge and influx of people coming, those hotels were always occupied. By the time I left, you had Delight, Midas, Prosperous, The Jewels. What's the name of the one near GRA here? Near NTA?
Hotel.
All this in the space of time that Fayemi was governor in the state. I speak to those entrepreneurs, those who wanted to put the hotels in other places, but because of the ease of doing business in Ekiti, which earned us the number 5 place in the World Bank ease of doing business study in the 36 states of Nigeria at the time, they brought their businesses here. Many of them, they started regretting it almost immediately after I left, because the government became so anti-investment. And you can see what has happened. Guarantee Trust Bank, gone. Coca-Cola, gone. Eco Bank, almost out. Irribon Briggs, they're struggling. Gussie Water, dead. When you have a government that is not interested, and government cannot generate all the jobs, it's not the place of government to give people jobs. But when you create an enabling environment, as we did, then business will flourish, investment will come in, and then people will get jobs. In many of those hotels that I just mentioned, they hardly even have 10 occupants on a weekly basis now. But the focus for us, the focus of our industrial development agenda is agriculture, because that is our unique selling point in Ekiti. That is where we're going to put a lot of our effort. Clearing the land, making tractors available for our people, encouraging young farming entrepreneurs. The guys that we supported, one of them went on to get even more support from the African Development Bank. I don't know where Dr. Tokwe Aroge is now, one of the beneficiaries of our youth in commercial agriculture program. Our YCAD team now, they now have their own cooperative, sustained after we've left government. And that is what life should be about for our youth. Not to reduce them to thugs, to miscreants, eating crumbs from the table of the governor. That is not the Ekiti I grew up in. The Ekiti that I grew up in is an aspirational Ekiti. Is an Ekiti in which we look up to those who have excelled. Not an Ekiti in which we create an arrangement in which young people can justify not doing well by saying, after all, look at our governor now. If he can be governor,
I can also do that.
Why can't I also just continue to drink shepe on the roadside and then I will become an overnight success? There is no success without hard work. There is no shortcut to progress. And those are the values we want to restore back to Ekiti.
ọ̀rọ̀ pọ̀ nínú ìwé ìtọ́bọ̀ dókítà mo dẹ̀ gbàládùra pé gbogbo èròǹgbà yìí lọ́n á mú wá sí ìmúṣẹ torí ọmọlúàbí ni kò sẹ́ni tí ò mọ ipa tí ìlera pípé ń kó nígbésí ayé ọmọ ènìyàn. Kí ni èròǹgbà dókítà Kayode Fayemi níwọ̀n bàtẹ́ ti sọ pé ẹ̀ wàá gbẹ̀san o lórí ìgbáyégbádùn ará ìlú lọ́kùnrin lóbìnrin lọ́mọdé lágbà, ìgbáyégbádùn kínní àti ipò ìlera. Òun lẹ sọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan pé ìgbà tẹ́ dé yunifásitì teaching hospital wa pé ipò tẹ́ fibẹ̀ sí kọ́ lẹ́ẹ̀ bá. Báwo lẹ ṣe fẹ́ tún mú kí bí ìlera pípé ṣe wà nígbà sáà yín àkọ́kọ́ ká tún di ohun tá à ń gbádùn sí, because oríṣiríṣi ìròyìn là ń gbọ́ bá tiẹ̀ débẹ̀ bẹ̀ tà ṣáà ráwọn kan tó lóyún tó ń lọ síbẹ̀ pé èyí peléke o.
Ká má bàa gbàgbé, ẹ jẹ́ kí n rán yín létí àwọn nǹkan tá a ṣe nígbà tá a wà ń bẹ̀. Yàtọ̀ sí èyí tí mo sọ nípa accident and emergency ward, bóyá ẹ ti gbàgbé pé ní gbogbo ilẹ̀ káàárọ̀ òjìrì àwa la kọ́kọ́ san owó èlé fún àwọn dókítà àtàwọn òṣìṣẹ́ ilé ìwòsàn tí àwọn olóyìnbó ń pè ní CONMES àti CONHES. A sì dúró ń bẹ̀. Ní gbogbo ìjọba ìbílẹ̀ mẹ́rẹ̀ẹ̀rìndínlógún láti tún ilé ìwòsàn ṣe. Tẹ́ bá lọ bẹ̀ lénìí ẹ̀ ṣì bà bẹ́ẹ̀. Ní gbogbo ìjọba ìbílẹ̀ mẹ́rìndínlógún la gbé ambulance tuntun sí gbogbo àwọn hospital yìí. Àdádúró ń bẹ̀. Tẹ́ ẹ bá rántí, a ní ètò yàtọ̀ sí pé ìwòsàn ọ̀fẹ́ wà fáwọn ọmọdé, àwọn àgbà, àwọn aláboyún àti àwọn aláàbọ̀ ara wa. a tún wá ń ṣe ètò ìwòsàn tá a máa ń gbé káàkiri gbogbo ìjọba ìbílẹ̀ 16 àdádúró ń bẹ̀, a tún ń ṣèlera láàfin fún àwọn kábíyèsí, àwọn òjòyè àti gbogbo àwọn tó bá wà nílé kábíyèsí. Kò dẹ̀ sí kankan ń bẹ̀ tí àwọn èèyàn wá ń sanwó ìwòsàn tó bá gbà. A sì kó oògùn sí gbogbo àwọn hospital wa náà. Àmọ́ èyí tó ṣe pàtàkì jù ni pé nǹkan tí àwọn èèyàn wa fi ń ṣàìsàn, àìní, ìṣẹ́, ìyà, òun ló ń jẹ́ kán ṣàìsàn. Tó o bá gbowó oṣù, tó o mọ ibi tí oúnjẹ alẹ́ ti máa wá, kò sígbà tó ò ní ṣàìsàn. Ìyẹn ló ṣe pàtàkì tó wá pé ẹni tó bá ṣiṣẹ́ ó ń láti gba owó iṣẹ́ tó ṣe. Òun ni ó ṣe pàtàkì fún wa pé a láti dáṣẹ́ lẹ̀ ní oríṣiríṣi ọ̀nà, ká lo ipò tí Ọlọ́run ti gbé wá sí, ipò àǹfààní tá a láti lè jẹ́ káwọn èèyàn wá dáṣẹ́ lẹ̀ ní ìpínlẹ̀ wa, káwọn èèyàn wá lè ríṣẹ́ ṣe. Ìgbà yẹn ìgbé ayé rere lè wà fún àwọn èèyàn wa jù. Àmọ́ tó bá yẹ pé ibi tá a ti ń fi ọwọ́ họra ni, kò sígbà tí àwọn alágbèédá ò ní gbé wa dá tán láwọn fún wa ní 200 naira àbí ká wá gba kágo ráìsì kan. Ṣé ìyẹn lèkìtì ń fẹ́? A sì tọ́ omi wò, a lè tún ti tọ́ epo wò, àti mọ̀ bí gbogbo ẹ̀ ṣe rí nsìn. Ṣé ẹni tí ó fẹ́ kó owó Èkìtì sápò ló jẹ wá lógún ni, àbí ẹni tó fẹ́ fi owó Èkìtì ṣe Èkìtì láǹfààní? Inú ìpínpọ̀ tó ṣe pàtàkì nìyẹn o. Nípa ètò ìwòsàn tọ̀dọ̀ wa, a lè kúrò ní ìlànà tá a ti mọ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀, a ṣe kó gbòòrò sí ni, pàápàá jùlọ ní àwọn ilé ìwòsàn wa láwọn ìgbèríko. A sì pè bá àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ sí láti jẹ́ kán tọ́jú àwọn èèyàn wa, wọ́n dẹ̀ máa gbowó wọn déédéé. O ò lè sọ pé o ní nọ́ọ̀sì tí ò tí ì gbowó oṣù 9, ibi tó ti ń gbé abẹ tó fẹ́ fi tọ́jú èèyàn, ó ń ronú nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ sọ́mọ ẹ̀ tí wọ́n ti lé kúrò ní skul. Ẹ lè bá wí tí abẹ yẹn bá gba bòmíì lọ, Ọlọ́run má yẹ ká rí láburú.
Àmín o.
Nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ nìyẹn. Ìyẹn dẹ̀ la ń láti sa ipá wa, gbogbo wa, gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọlúàbí Èkìtì, pé ó tó gẹ́. Torí lẹ́yìn gbogbo owó yìí tá à ń gbà tí mo kálẹ̀ fún yín, lẹ́yìn pé 260 billion, ǹjọ́ wo lẹ́yìn gbọ́yè tí ó ń wọlé lẹ́kìtì? Mi ò sọ owó tó ń wá láti Àbújá o, mi ò sọ bailout o, mi ò sọ Paris Club o.
Iye tá à ń pa wọlé lábẹ́lé.
Iye tẹ́kìtì ń pa lábẹ́lé lẹ́kìtì, ìjọ́ ò lẹ gbọ́ kẹ́yìn láti ìgbà tí mo ti kúrò níjọba. Ìgbà táwa wà níjọba, a sọ fún yín iye báyìí ló ń wọlé o. Ó ti kúrò ní 243 ní oṣù yìí o, ó ti bọ́ sí 400 o. Ká tó kúrò ó wọ 600 lóṣù. Nísìnyí típà ń sanwó, báǹkì ń sanwó, télọ̀ ń sanwó, owó èlò ni gan-an, ṣé kò yẹ ká mọ̀? Ṣé bí ìjọba tiwantiwa la ń ṣe? Àwọn báwo la ṣe fẹ́ mọ̀ lọ́dọ̀ gómìnà tó jẹ́ pé àwọn ni spíkà, àwọn ni wọ́n á ṣe kọ bọ́jẹ̀tì, àwọn ni wọ́n á ka bọ́jẹ̀tì, àwọn ni wọ́n á gbé òǹtẹ̀lé bọ́jẹ̀tì lórí. So nǹkan tó máa ti sọ pé ó wáyé náà ló wáyé. Àmọ́ wọ́n á mọ̀ pé Èkìtì ò gọ̀ tó báwọn ṣe rò pé Èkìtì gọ̀ láìpẹ́ láìjì.
Tọ́jú náà jọ́ torí Ọlọ́run, mo fẹ́ kí bó tiẹ̀ jẹ́ pé mi plan fún bẹ́ẹ̀ tí àwọn tí ó ní ìpèníjà, the disabled in the society tó ní ìpèníjà ara ojú, kí ni èròǹgbà yín fún wọn tí ẹ bá padà?
Ṣé mọ̀ pé kí n tó kúrò àti gbé àbádòfin kan lọ sí ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin lẹ́kìtì tó sọ pé ó ní iye àwọn èèyàn wa tẹ́ ẹ dárúkọ, àwọn aláàbọ̀ ara tẹ́ ẹ dárúkọ tí à ń láti gbà síṣẹ́, tá a dẹ̀ ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí gbà wọ́n síṣẹ́ lẹ́kìtì. Àpẹẹrẹ nìyẹn, a fi sínú ètò ìlànà ìjọba pé Disabilities Act ló ń jẹ́, pé à ń láti, torí pé èèyàn di tí kò mọ̀ pé kò lè ṣiṣẹ́ àbí pé ẹsẹ̀ ń dùn yàn, ó lè lo ọwọ́ ẹ̀ láti ṣiṣẹ́ mi. Gbogbo àwọn nǹkan tá a ṣe lẹ̀ ni ó dẹ̀ láti gbòòrò sí, a dẹ̀ wá gbé, a tún wá gbé lọ sí ti ìjọba àpapọ̀ nínú ẹgbẹ́ wa gan, láti yan àwọn èèyàn sípò ní ẹgbẹ́ wa àti sọ di dandan pé wọ́n láti ní ẹni tó ń ṣojú àwọn aláàbọ̀ ara ní àwọn aṣíwájú ẹgbẹ́. Gbogbo yẹn láti ní sí. Tó bá jẹ́ ìjọba tiwa, ìjọba APC o, a mọ̀ pé gbogbo wa kò gbé dọ́gba lọ́lọ́wọ́n ọba, gbogbo wa ò lè sí níbì kan náà, àmọ́ iṣẹ́ tàwa gẹ́gẹ́ bí olóṣèlú tó wà fún ìtẹ̀síwájú ìlú ni pé à ń láti wá ọ̀nà láti ran àwọn tí ó kù díẹ̀ káàtó fún lọ́wọ́, káwọn náà lè jẹ́ ní ìgbé ayé rere.
All right, it's some 8 minutes before we sign out of here. Dr. Fayemi, some of us believe that any native that does not have embedded a proper education policy is an unfamiliar equity. Now, moving forward, what are your plans for that sector?
Thank you very much. What was our plan for the education sector before? When we were in charge of the state before, we had what we call free and qualitative education up to senior secondary school level. And we followed it religiously. Not only by ensuring that the pupils were provided for, the quality of the environment where learning was taking place was also radically improved. That's why we had Operation Renovate All Schools in Ekiti. We didn't stop there. We also focused on the quality of teaching. And that is what many people misconstrue and talk about examination. We never set an examination for teachers. We were more interested in where the gaps were. As a matter of fact, the title of what we did then was Teachers Development Needs Assessment, TDNE. What were the needs of our teachers? How do we objectively assess it? So that we don't just come and say training, capacity building. What should we train you in? Which of your capacity do we need to improve upon in order to assist you? We had no agenda for examination, neither did we have an agenda for sacking anybody. Because we believe that the quality of teaching has a lot to do with the quality of pupils that we produce. And we've seen it. When you look at the results of the examinations, the kids that were in GSS 1, when I became governor in 2010, who benefited from our IT policy, who got the laptop computers, who was supported right through with test books, with improved teacher training. These were the kids that sat for WAEC and NECO in 2016 and 2017. That some people are claiming credit for that they came first. You cannot put something on nothing. You can't accidentally just produce brilliant students if they didn't have a foundation. It's not accidental. As I said, there's no shortcut to progress. But we did not also stop there. We go to the university now. All the opportunities we provided for the students, scholarships, bursary, capacity building and enhancement, here none of it is going on now. We went as far as giving scholarships to students who are in the law school, not just students who were in undergraduate programs in university. All of that is out. Students are crying now. They cannot even organize themselves because the government will not allow them to have a student union.
All right.
So the quality of education is always going to be a priority for me, and people know that. I am a product of Ekiti schools. I was not brought from England or America. I went to a school down the road from this your office, and I've turned out the way I've turned out. Glory be to God. There is no reason why Ekiti should fall short of producing students of my caliber and of the caliber of many of the people who were in my school and in several other schools at the time. And that is where we need to return to. Not this Ekiti, where government celebrates mediocrity. Not this Ekiti, where government celebrates miracle centers. Not this Ekiti, where government buys examination papers for students. That's not the Ekiti I grew up in. And that is why values are important. Character is critical in order for us to rebuild and reclaim our land.
All right, Dr. Fayemi, we're
Running
playing
out
for
of
time
time.
here. I think one of the things that has been echoed and re-echoed online, where we have a sizable population following us online this past hour, is that there needs to be a connection between you and the vast majority of the people, especially the grassroots people. They're in the majority. They may not necessarily make the connection between the way you put things or the way you've put your programs through. So what is your recipe for this moving forward?
There was nothing we did in government that was imposed top down. We never did a single thing in our government top down. Everything we did as a government of Ekiti between 2010 and 2014 was generated from the grassroots. I traveled round the state before every budget session. I will go to community Ire. Give me 3 priority things that you want me to do for you. Afao, what are your issues? What should I focus on? And they all did. They all did. And that's what resulted in all of our community projects. I sit with our people. It's a myth to say Fayemi is elitist because I can string words together in English without the trace of an accent.
All right.
I don't have any apology for that. But for me, what is grassroots is what we do with human development.
All right, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, it's really been a pleasure. I'm sure quite some ground has not been covered by a lot of the things.
I'll be back.
Oh, okay, so we're looking forward to
Á sọ̀rọ̀ nípa tọba tẹ bá padà wá.
that time.
No, well, kò sí nǹkan tá a fẹ́ sọ ń pa àtọba ju pé à ń láti máa tọ́jú àwọn ọba wa. Mo gbọ́ pé gbogbo nǹkan tí mo ṣe fáwọn ọba nígbà tí mo wà lórí àlééfà gbogbo ẹ̀ ni wọ́n ti pamọ́lẹ̀ yàtọ̀ sí ọkọ̀ tí mo rà fún wọn o. Even owó oṣù wọn àwọn ọba ò tí ì gbowó oṣù 5 bí mo ṣe ń bá yín sọ̀rọ̀ yìí. Kí lẹ̀ ń sọ? Kí yẹn ṣẹlẹ̀ nígbà tí mi wá ń jọba ní.
Dr. Kayode Fayemi, thank you. Well, it's a pleasure to have you this past hour, and I'm sure the next time we sit here, we'll be able to talk about tourism, the traditional institution, and so on, a lot of other sectors.
I'll be happy to be back to talk.
That we need to touch.
You should even organize a town hall. Bring your
So
focus
I understand
group.
you're challenging Governor Fayemi to a debate.
Oh, I have, because one of his officials challenged me to state how I spent the so-called 163 billion that I took in 4 years. And I think it's an opportunity to tell the people what I did. And it's also an opportunity for his boss to come. But you see, Fayose should even let the candidate speak. Why is it? He should let his candidate speak. I'm not running against Fayose, but then I'm running against him because he knows.
Something for another day. Daily Alagmo. Let's go.